geographic location is based on U.S. Census tracts. And they will remain in effect until December 31st, 2028. Here is the County of Riverside. Everything in dark and light green is our opportunity zones. You see some of them around the Paris, Moreno Valley area, around Hemet, San Jacinto. The majority of them, however, as you see, are on the east side of the Coachella Valley, which include a few in Indio, I think, by their downtown. The City of Coachella has 4, and then the rest of them are the unincorporated County of Riverside, which goes all the way down to the Salton Sea. Here's Indios, and like I said, it focuses around their downtown area. Here's the eastern portion of the Coachella Valley, Mecca, Thermal, Salton Sea, and then the City of Coachella, which is really around our industrial park and close to our agricultural areas. In order to take advantage of these tax incentives, you have to put your money in what they call an opportunity fund, which is an investment vehicle set up by a partnership corporation authorized to aggregate capital and deploy these equity investments in the opportunity zones and within those opportunity zone properties. At least 90% of those assets of those funds are to be used within those opportunity zone properties. Who can create one of these funds? Any tax-paying individual or entity can create an opportunity fund through a self-certification process. A form is submitted within the taxpayer's federal income tax return for a taxable year. So anybody can create one. As I'm aware of right now, there aren't any specific opportunity funds within the east side of Coachella Valley. No one's come up and created one yet, but those options are still available. Is there a minimal investment amount? No, anybody with capital gains can make an investment into these opportunity funds. The way they kind of structure it is it's based on time, right? These do have an expiration date, and they want people to start investing into these zones as soon as possible, so there can be job creation and economic development. Once here are some of those factors. Once the capital gains is realized, investors and funds have 180 days to invest into those opportunity zones. Properties in those opportunity zones must be substantially improved within 31 months. An opportunity fund may need to have 90% of its capital invested in the opportunity zone properties within the first 6 months of those taxable years of the opportunity fund. To maximize tax advantage, investment should occur by 12/30/31/19. So that day has passed, but there's still an opportunity for people to invest. I think just your return becomes smaller after that. What can opportunity funds invest in? Pretty much anything. Property, development of properties. They can in commercial investments. They can housing, commercial, retail, anything that you can invest into. It's pretty eligible. And right now we have the thing that we got going a lot for our area is land. So we have a lot of vacant land for sale within these opportunity zones, so people can actually develop and invest into these funds and have a nice return on their capital gains. What do opportunity zones benefit investors? Here are some of those tax benefits. It's a temporary deferral of capital gains tax. A developer will not be taxed on gains invested within those funds until the investor withdraws from those funds, or until December 31st, 2026, whichever comes first. The longer you keep your money in these funds, those benefits increase, right? If you keep them for short term, the deferrals. If you keep them around mid-range, right here, for example, you get a tax reduction. If you keep investors hold on to their investment for a minimum of 5 years, their tax rate is reduced 90% for at least 5 years, 85% if it's held at least 10 years. Tax exclusion: if you hold it for either the full amount or a minimum of 10 years, then you those gains become exempt. So the goal is for you to keep those those investments in there for at least 10 years or longer, because at the end you get tax exempt from those the gains that you get while being in those funds. Here's an example. So in 2018, an individual investor sells 1,000 shares of Amazon stock that they purchased in 2013 for 250,000. The sale is about 1,250 per share, results in a $1 million capital gains. Instead of paying the 238,000 in federal capital gains tax on the sale, the investor rolls their complete 1 million that they gain into a qualified opportunity fund that invests the capital in the development of shopping centers located within an opportunity zone, with the plan to liquidate the fund in 2028. They assume the value that this investment is in 2028 will be about $2 million. So here are the benefits. So you would invest the entire $1 million instead of the 762,000 minus the taxes that you have to pay. So you get to invest your full 1 million into these reinvestment into these capital funds instead of paying the $202,300 in taxes in 2026. You'll be paying. You're paying that instead of the 2038. So you get about a 15% reduction in that amount of taxes owed. Owing no additional tax on the 1 million in capital gains once the whole fund is materialized. So in 2028, you don't have to pay taxes on the $1 million that you gained while being in that opportunity zone. So it's pretty much $1 million tax free in your pocket. What level of return should investors expect to receive? All that just depends on the investor, the fund, how they manage it. Opportunity funds may raise capital from socially responsible, high net worth investors that would otherwise be continuing to donor advised funds with a principal preservation focus and a low return expectation. Private equity investors will more likely expect double-digit returns based on their risk and providing equity capital through real estate and other business ventures. Preferred equity investors are expecting returns between 6 to 10%. So it just depends on who's in charge of these funds and what type of investment strategies they're implementing. So those are all questions you would ask those investors once you start putting your money into these funds. And here are some of the resources I indicated. Right, the opportunity zones were formed by the U.S. Department of Treasury, but like I said, they are a tax exemption, so the IRS manages that. You would have to, work with your tax preparer to, use the tax benefit on those. So there's the IRS website. The state of California created a nice little portal that kind of talks about opportunity zones, gives them details, and kind of tells you where they're at. I think they can even have a list of existing opportunity funds and where they're located at. The County of Riverside just opened a new one up too, and it's pretty nice too as well. So right now we're working with the County of Riverside on our opportunity zones and how we can promote them and bring in new development for the city. Here's our city boundaries. Everything within the blue lines is our city. Everything red is an opportunity zone. As you see, with the benefit of us is our opportunity zones are right next to the unincorporated area, which in the future allows us to annex them in. So you have opportunity zones from Coachella all the way down to the Salton Sea. So there's a lot of opportunity there for growth and development in the future. So it's a good opportunity to invest and start some development projects. The city, the things that we're doing, it's pretty cool, is that we were awarded a $50,000 grant for the California START program. It's through the Accelerator of America, which is a nonprofit, which will be used to support the City of Coachella in cultivating investment projects and attracting capital in its opportunity zones. And one of our big areas is our industrial park, and right there we have Ernie Ball, Anthony Vineyards, Coca-Cola. We recently moved our city hall down there. And the cool part about that park, it's also zoned for cannabis, so people can do cannabis businesses, manufacturing, cultivation, and so forth. So it's going to be a potential area that you can have a lot of investment in, and there's still a lot of land for sale in this area. Other things that we're doing that are pretty cool is we're going to create a digital dashboard, an economic development dashboard. We're working with a company called My Sidewalk, and they're going to create this nice little dashboard that's going to be linked to our website that you can use on your phone, computer, and it's going to kind of give you, if you see on the right-hand side, a lot of data sets about the community, a lot of properties that are available. Kind of gives you a economic snapshot of the current existing conditions, and maybe even kind of market those areas that we want to develop. Here's some examples of that company. My Sidewalk has already done websites and dashboards for Fresno County, Kansas City, and City of Long Beach. They're pretty interesting stuff. So you guys can definitely go on, once I send you the presentation, go on those websites and see how it's going to end up looking. Once we open up ours, I'll definitely send it over to the group so you guys can check it out. I think we'll expect it to be done around July. So it's coming in about 2 months, we'll get it ready. Other opportunity zone projects that we're working on is we're going to conduct a feasibility study on our industrial park. And here's a picture of it. As you see, it's we have those big companies I mentioned, along with Ocean Mist and Woodspur Farms. We're gonna, we have a lot of land available for development. Access to Expressway 86. You still have access to Highway 111. We're going to work with UC Riverside on this feasibility study, and that will be available on our website once it's completed. We're thinking that will be done around October. Another thing that we wanted to do that we kind of worked with the county is to kind of create an entrepreneur competition event that includes cash prizes for upcoming entrepreneurs and innovators that want to present their business idea. So you kind of pitch your business idea to a committee, and the winner would win like $5,000, and they can use that money for their project or their business. And we also want to work with the county to start planning opportunity zone tours once we get over this pandemic crisis. Once the governor allows us to allow us to get close and provide these tours, or we can do individual tours with the necessary protection. So we're working with the county kind of to work on those logistics. And like I said, we know with $50,000 we try to maximize our promotion of these opportunity zones, at the same time trying to see what we can do to attract new development, create new jobs, and especially during this time where there's going to be a high unemployment, and the recession, an economic recession is about to come upon us. So the next step is, if you guys have a business or you're wanting to invest into an opportunity fund, talk to your accountant or your tax attorney. They'll give you more insight on how the tax benefit works and what you need to do to file. We're going to include a lot more opportunity zone information and market information soon. Look to pair a lot of cities are doing is looking to pair opportunity zones with what they call them redevelopment agencies 2.0s, which they're enhanced infrastructure districts that kind of still create a tax exempt a TIF fund that will allow cities to use that for infrastructure improvements. So some cities are looking to pair opportunity zones with those type of redevelopment opportunities. Unfortunately, our city can't, because our city was a redevelopment zone, so we still have to pay back those bonds before we can take out new bonds. So we won't be able to do that for another 10 years. But a lot of cities that have already paid off their redevelopment bonds can, start these new IFs or CREAs, and they can, create more incentives, right? So if a city has this funding mechanism in place, and you want to start a new business and create this new development, the city can come in and put in the offsite improvements, the sewer lines, the water lines, the power lines, and anything that regards to infrastructure that would help your project come to fruition. And like I said, we're working a lot with the county. My expert is DACIE Marketing. She's from the county. I've included her email and phone number. She's awesome. She's the one that's kind of guiding us and being our consultant as we move forward with our next steps. And she's a great resource. If you have any specific questions, details, she's the one that if you ask me, I'm just going to ask her. But she's real good and real friendly. So she's an awesome resource. If you have any questions, please let me know. Here's my contact information, email, phone number. Like I said, I'll try to answer any questions that come up, but at the end, if I can, I'm going to ask Stacy because she's pretty much my opportunity zone guru. Uh, if you have any, I'll be sending everybody this presentation, so you'll have all this information. So if there are any questions, thank you for allowing me to speak with you today, and I hope you have a little better understanding of what opportunity zones are and what the City of Coachella is trying to do with their opportunity zones.
Okay, thank you, Gabriel. I'm going to turn it over to Robin Default, our president, so she can kind of ask any questions. And also, if anybody has any questions too, they can put them into the chat function below onto Zoom. If you scroll down at the bottom, you'll see a button that says chat, and if you want to go ahead and chat in there. But I'm going to turn it over to Robin right now.
Can you explain the largest area that would be available to, or in the opportunity zone, which allows for any of the tax benefits, like a parameter, the streets?
Well, it's specifically for our city. I'll bring the map back on. We can see our map. So this is pretty much our city boundaries, and you can see the opportunity zones are all in red. So it goes into the unincorporated area, and like I said, around Airport Boulevard, there's a lot of great opportunities there with the airport growing. I know they want to make it a commercial airport for commerce. We have the rail line with Union Pacific. So, like I said, there's a lot of investment opportunities there that people can put their monies into and, take advantage of those tax incentives. But, as for us, the city, we want to focus on our industrial park and develop that area so we can see more businesses come out of it. And, like I said, we do have a lot of existing businesses that are awesome. If you see right there, Coca-Cola, Anthony Vineyards, the city we have our corporate yard out here, and we just bought this building down here and turned it into our city hall. So you have all these, all these buildings, Ernie Ball right here, and then Fulton Distribution. So we have all this land right here available that can become. That's also zoned for cannabis as well. So we have cultivators that want to come in and manufacture CBD oils and stuff like that. So I think our main focus is the industrial park and see what we can do to get that going.
Well, I have a couple of questions. The first one is from Israel Duran. He asks, so if a fund is created, anyone with capital gains can invest in it?
Yes.
Okay. And then another one from Jonathan Robertson. Are there any major projects or development in the works?
No, unfortunately, there aren't specific projects that we've identified. We just have a lot of vacant land for sale. There's no specific plan out there. There's no CUPs. We have some CUPs that have been approved already for some cannabis activities. Like these vacant lots right here they already have a CUP in place for cannabis cultivating and manufacturing. So if you did want to go that route, you wouldn't have to go through the CUP process or entitlement process because the zoning has been changed already. It's still light manufacturing and cannabis, so you don't have to invest in cannabis, but that option is still available for you for these two properties right here.
And can you touch upon the hotel that was going in at Avenue 48? And
yeah, right now the partners are fighting each other right now. I think they're in a lawsuit, so that's what held up the project. On the bright side, the Indigo, the company that's going to operate the facility, is still on board. So once they resolve their dispute there and resume construction, they'll still operate it as Indigo, which is a great sign because that's a very well-known and prominent operator. So as soon as we hear more information on that, once they settle their differences, and we'll see how construction starts. And we don't have a timeline on that. We're still waiting for them to give us a timeline.
Okay. And do you have any market rate apartments planned or entitled yet?
Yes, the property across from the hotel, it's called Coachella Village. It's through a developer named David Schumann. He entitled that property for market rate apartments, and he said he's going to submit construction documents by the fall. I think he's still looking for finalizing his funding, but we already did some offsite improvements there. We expanded the road and did some curb and gutters and sidewalks. So his project is shovel ready. I think he's just finding funding, and we're waiting for him to submit his construction documents for a plan review.
From Lynn Puckett, do you have any stats on vacancies in commercial buildings?
Unfortunately, I can send you the website that we use through the county. It's their Zoom prospector. I'll send you guys that link. And let me see if I can find it actually right now and send it to you guys. But they right now the thing we do have is vacant land, and there's very few buildings that are for sale or lease right now, just because of the high demand of cannabis. So most of them have already been bought up or purchased. So, but there's still raw land for development, which we all know is more expensive.
Another question from Israel. He wants to know what the process is for starting a fund. Is there a website available to give that information?
Yeah, I'll get that for you guys. It should be on the Treasury website that I posted on the resources, but I'll try to find the specific one. So how to start an opportunity zone fund. I'll get that for you guys right now.
That's great. Thank you. All right. I really thank you, Mr. Martin. Anyway, thank you all for attending, and we will continue with this. I know the DACIE members that we usually do when we do a marketing meeting, we have property pitches. This will be in the works. We will let you know. You just need to give us a heads up on what properties you would like to pitch, and we can show them online in another virtual meeting. In fact, it'll be the first Thursday of June. So hope to see you then. Bye for now.